noticed, every hour has a theme. And so we're here to celebrate Youth Power Hour. I'm here with some powerhouses really in the youth space to discuss how to inspire and spark, no pun intended, some generosity amongst our youth. And so I actually just want to start off by giving everyone the floor to introduce themselves, maybe starting with Monica, Marina, and then Ailen, please.
Hi, I'm Monica Berg. I'm very excited to be part of Giving Tuesday, and I am passionate about helping improve people's lives, both young and old, at any stage. I am co-director of the Kabbalah Center, and I've just released my first children's book called The Gift of Being Different, and very excited to celebrate that and celebrate children and their ability to find and recognize and own their superpower, which usually is hidden in their differences.
Amazing. Marina.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm the founder of educational platform for kindness and generosity that holds the Giving Tuesday Kids or the Giving Tuesday Spark or the Kids in Brazil. I'm also a writer. I have a lot of books and also a teacher. I used to teach it for children, but now I teach for adults. But I'm really happy to discuss this very, very important subject with all of you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Marina. Ailen.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I'm Ailen Ariaza. I am the co-director at Parents Together, and Parents Together is a national nonprofit organization that provides parents with education and resources to support them in their parenting, and also creates opportunities for parents to take action on the issues that matter to families. I'm a mom. I have two boys, ages 13 and 10, and I'm really glad to be here today to talk about generosity.
Thank you so much. I'm in the company of the right people to have this conversation because I know we have a lot of parents watching, actually. And I know that one of the first questions when we start talking about generosity in children is, where do you start, right? What's the seed level consciousness, if I can call it something, right? How do you inspire your child to be generous? Not as something that you're telling them to be, but as something that they can find within themselves and be inspired within themselves and then inspire others. But let's start off with, how do you inspire your own kids? So Ailen, you're right next to me on the screen. Why don't I take it up with you first?
Yeah, that's great. So I think that this starts from really early on, like when you have a toddler, right? And you're teaching them how to share. That's where you can start teaching your kids about generosity. And one thing that I think is really important is because if you've ever interacted with a toddler, you know they're not the most reasonable people in the world. And so it might be tricky, right, to try to teach a toddler to share their toys, to take turns. And one thing that I think is really important for parents to remember is that we have to validate those feelings that toddlers might have about sharing or about taking turns in the beginning, right? They might not want to. It might not come natural to them. And that's okay. Forcing kids to share, to take turns, that generally backfires. And being able to really connect with your child, validate what they're feeling, listen to them, and ask them, what's going on? Get curious with them and get them to get curious about being generous, because it's perfectly okay to say to a child, sharing is hard. Being generous is hard. It takes work, but we can practice it together. That's fine. And that will make it seem like something that you can work on rather than something that you are or aren't. And then the other thing I'll say is modeling generosity and generous behavior is always so important. And there's lots of ways to do that. It doesn't mean that you have to volunteer every week at an organization, but you can bake cookies and share them with neighbors, or you can have people over for dinner, or compliment someone's new haircut. Just all these things that you can do with your kids that they can see, so that they can start learning from what they're seeing that you're doing as a family.
I love everything you just shared, but you actually used a really important word, which is curiosity. And I know Monica loves talking about that on her podcast with her husband, Spiritually Hungry podcast. Please check it out. But also, Monica, please share a little bit about why is it important to stay curious, and how can that help us in these conversations with our kids?
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to be curious about our children. I think very often I'm a mother of 4, and when we bring children in the world, we often sometimes make the mistake of just seeing them as an extension of ourselves. So I think if we are curious about our child, right, we're really paying attention, we can start to see what comes naturally to them. Some children just by nature are more giving or more sensitive to what other people need. And we as parents are our child's biggest and first role models. So I think it needs to start with how we give and teaching them also to look at the world and be curious about the world. We know that there's 2 powerful forces that we live by, that's giving and receiving. And I think it is our responsibility to teach our children to really be able to look and not just say, okay, what can I get? What feels good to me? What am I receiving? But to start really early on at such a young age to look out into the world and say, okay, how can I be offering? What can I be giving? What can I be doing? And the second really big part of that is teaching them that the formula, the secret ingredients for happiness for the rest of your life is when you really become a being of sharing, a giver. And sometimes it will be difficult to share. Sometimes it will be hard. But after you do it and you start doing it consistently, that's when you'll feel the happiest. And I've started that really early with my kids to have that awareness. I mean, we tend to go through life just looking at things through the lens of self. And of course, that's natural and that's normal. And it's natural to have desire to receive just for me. I mean, if you look at a child that's like my cookies, but also if you educate the child and say, well, that child doesn't have cookies, what might that feel like if you didn't have anything? And then after you give and you shared your cookie, how did you feel? It's really having those conversations early on. I do want to say one more thing about modeling. I remember not too long ago, my youngest child and I, Abigail, who co-authored The Gift of Being Different with me, which I'm really proud of her. She's only 9. So we were at 16 Handles. It's a big yogurt chain on the East Coast here in New York. And there were 3 teenagers who didn't have money for the yogurt. And the woman working there was getting annoyed with them because they were sampling all the frozen yogurts. And they kept, using the same cup, which obviously isn't great. And especially during the times we're living in, everybody's terrified of germs. And it's not sanitary, but she was getting really angry. And I thought, well, they obviously really want yogurt and they don't have the money. So I offered to pay for them and to buy them each a frozen yogurt. And the woman didn't like it. She says, they're here all the time. I said, that may be the case, but they still don't have money for one and I want to share. And one child loaded his cup up all the way to the top. Another one was really humble and he felt embarrassed. It was interesting to see that giving, receiving aspect. But the thing that really touched me the most was seeing Abigail's response and her friend. Those teenagers, when they walked out, they looked at Abigail and they said, your mom is awesome. And she looked at me really proud and she wanted to be just like me in looking for opportunities to give in big ways to people who don't even ask. And I think that's really the point in a nutshell, to model and to really be curious about the world. What are the needs of others?
That is incredible. And I think that really speaks to the power that we have at home. Marina, I know you work with groups of kids. And so as we're talking about this conversation around modeling, I'm really curious about your standpoint on modeling between children, right? Amongst groups of youth, how can inspiring one of them or a couple of them actually create more of a collective effort when they get together? I'm sure you have a lot to say on that because of Dia de Doir. So please share your thoughts.
One thing really important is to think on, we can inspire by being the inspiration. And we need to open our minds and our heart to be inspired by children, by youth. That's what happens with our platform every day. I love one religious parable that is really widespread here in Brazil. I don't know if you know the soil. The seeder throws seeds through different types of soil, and depending on the soil, the plant grows or not. But when it comes to children, all soil are really fertile, and they inspire us every day. It's really amazing. We have on our platform a special place for young leaders, for youth, as we say, the Giving Tuesday Spark, kids with 13, 14 years old with social projects without money is not a question. The question is the how can I say, the power of engagement. They are in 4 different countries with 100 volunteers, and they are making the difference by heart, without PhDs, without studying this, just practicing. So we think sharing these examples is really interesting because each kind of kid has different interests, and we need to respect these. When it deals to giving, it cannot be an obligation. It must come from the heart. I love this gesture. I practice every day, many times around during my days, because we need to, how can I use some learnings about behavior. And when it deals to chess, and we need to make it common, we need to naturalize giving. It's not to create an artificial environment just for one day. And then we prepare everything, let's give today. But how can we think on giving every day? That's why we created on our platform 7 principles. They work together. It's the how can I say, interconnection of kindness, generosity, sustainability, solidarity, respect, citizenship, and also when we put everything together, we can make the difference. It's not one thing or the other, it's all together. And different types of kids can be connected to different kinds of gesture. We see these every day also in the schools, in different kind of projects. We have our ambassadors. One of our ambassadors, Ana Clara Martins, she's a singer.
I love all the ideas and concepts. Really, all that I've heard you guys say are all these concepts that really work so well together in terms of if you're a parent or an educator and you're really thinking through how to inspire the youth that you have access to, whether because you brought them into this world or you get to be in charge of them during the day, it starts within, right? It starts within. I've heard you say that it shouldn't be this made up space, but rather a conversation that is both curious and open and authentic and willing to be whatever generosity means to them and meet them where they are. But I would be remiss if I let all of you go without sharing some tangible ideas on what people should and can do today. So I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds, and please just spitfire whichever thing comes to your mind on how can parents and families celebrate Giving Tuesday today. Ailen, I know you said some great ideas at the beginning, so maybe let's just restate those. I'll start off with you because I know you have some amazing ideas top of mind.
Yeah, great. Oh, did I get, okay, sorry. I thought I heard an echo. I'll start again.
No
yeah, great. Happy to share some ideas. And, you know, Marina, you were talking about how every child is different and it's so important to really lean into what they're interested in. So I think with giving, it's the same, really trying to lean into what your kid is into. For example, my youngest child, we love to cook together. So often during the holidays or when we're just feeling extra generous, we bake cookies and we give them to neighbors. We give them to our mailman. There's this little convenience store across the street where my kids love to go and buy candy and treats. So we bring treats to them. My oldest son is really into he loves Legos. He loves to make little stop motion animations. And so he makes those as gifts for people. So he'll make one for his grandparents, for friends, and it's just like a cute little video showing them how much he cares, how much he loves them. So I just my tangible idea is to like lean into what your kid loves and figure out a way to turn it into a generous experience.
I love that. Marina, would you care sharing some ideas on how people can activate on Giving Tuesday?
Yeah, we have some pre-prepared activities on our platform. That is gentilezagenerosidade.org.br, and we create some games like origami of generosity, cupcakes, as Ailen just shared with us, cupcakes of kindness, soap bubbles of solidarity. We also have a document in partnership with Brazilian Scouts with 14 activities that all the family can play together. Like let's have, and kids love some kind of challenge, and it's, how can I say, a competition for the good, a good and make it together with the friends and spread ideas. And as you know, Madelaine, we love musics, and we also created a very, very, how can I say, the music is catchy, yeah, with our principles. So kindness, generosity, it's gentileza, generosidade, solidariedade, sustentabilidade, diversidade, respeito e cidadania. These are the principles you must use every day, and these are the principles that will make our lives more happier, that we will have a happier life. So we think we have different ways, and let's think about together, not one idea or other idea, but all the ideas. That's our formula to have a very, very happy and engaging Giving Tuesday.
Thank you so much, Marina. Monica, please take it home. How do we find the gift of being different and also rethink generosity today?
Well, I'm all about not assigning something really powerful to a specific time. So I love that we have Giving Tuesday, but I think it should be Giving Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think it should be every day of the week, every month, every year. I always think it's kind of funny when, we only celebrate love on Valentine's Day, that kind of thing. I think it's meant to happen. Something's positive, it should be sprinkled in part of every day. I think, though, Giving Tuesday, let's plant a seed that we really try to awaken empathy in our children and each other. Feel the lack, the pain of somebody else, awaken compassion, and really start researching. Maybe you'll find an organization that really speaks to your heart or just close to home, or you'll find many organizations, and you can create a plan for your family where you give to each organization once a month, whether you tithe your income, you give 10%, or you save money in a piggy bank and you decide that at the end of the year, you're going to give to a certain thing. Another thing I love to do in my house, I am a type A personality. I'm really like a clean home. So I like to clean our closets out. I think it's a great opportunity on a Tuesday. Look and see what doesn't fit anymore, or coats that you don't need, or cans of food, and offer to a food drive or a clothing a bank, a homeless shelter. There's so many ways. When you start to ask the question of how can I give, then your mind is going to start giving you many ways of doing so. So I think it's a great day to plant a seed, awaken empathy, do your research, and commit to giving every single day of every year.
And that's that. It's as if I give you all talking points on Giving Tuesday and you're ready to become ambassadors around the world. Thank you all so much for joining us. For those watching, we've got a lot more generosity coming along, so please stick around in our social channels. Everyone, you'll be able to contact these organizations that these three lovely women have talked about today, and many more, both through our platforms and through our social media social channels, where we'll be highlighting all of these. And as I said, today isn't just a day to celebrate generosity, but to kickstart an entire year of giving with your families. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next hour of Giving Tuesday.